place where we grew. It was more than just a track in the schoolyard vibes where legends were made. Boys turned to men in the games that we played. Under the sun, life's lessons came raw. Every challenge faced made us stronger for sure. Running through the dirt with our dreams in the race. Competing for respect, every heart was in place. Those playground rules, they became our creed. From basketball courts to the fields of speed. We hustled and flowed with every passing day. Learning how to stand up when life's in the way. In the schoolyard, that's where it began. Brotherhood forged, hand in hand. Through sweat and pain, through laughter and tears. We connected for life, through our hopes and fears. Remember those battles, we fought tooth and nail. Pushing through the struggle, we were destined to prevail. Tagging walls with dreams, spitting rhymes on the fly in the chaos of youth. We reached for the sky, from playground kings to the dreams we pursued. Every moment we shared, the lessons infused.
Welcome to another episode of The Yard. Yours truly, Chris Bender Sr.
Every day is Saturday, Vincent Scott.
But you forgot what day it was.
Mike Franklin grew up 32nd and Berks, literally crossed the street from the schoolyard. Welcome, fellas.
Maurice Franklin. Glad to be back.
Maurice.
Thanks for the
You
praise.
left out the Maurice.
Welcome back, my brother.
Yeah, man, I missed you guys last week, man.
Hey, good to be back.
We had, Puckett was there. We had an interesting guest. Fred was on with us last week.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was good to have him. So I guess let's start where we left off last week. Last week, what we were talking about last week was, do we agree? D.L. Hughley, Ryan Clark, a couple people said that athletes, five-star athletes shouldn't go to colleges and states or to those schools where they support the redistricting. So it just erupted this whole big thing, man, about should they go, shouldn't they go? So I guess we can start there because what I want to talk about is what our generation, what's our legacy going to be with all the stuff that's going on? You talking about that? You talking about rolling back the 14th Amendment, taking Black history out of schools, they suppressing voter, all kind of crazy stuff. But I want to give you and Tommy a chance to address that as we roll into the next one.
Well, I kind of agree with Ryan Clark. If they stop going to Alabama and Georgia, they get most of their state income through their college football and basketball programs. If we say, well, we can't vote or y'all want to take our voting right, but we're not going to send our athletes down to y'all schools, that'll make a major change, change. Because they get a lot of their revenue through their football and basketball programs.
I agree.
Tommy?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if that's the answer, per se. I don't know if we some of our own kids that we have to sacrifice in that way. Because I don't know who hurt them. Those schools are kids from somewhere.
Well, they can go to schools up north. They can go to schools in the Midwest.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot that goes into play. Hopefully they have other scholarship offers or stuff like that where they can go elsewhere. But, I mean, we need to make a stand somewhere and not just sit on our hands and say, okay, let them do what they're going to do.
And I was having a conversation with somebody, and they kind of said what Tommy said. First of all, if you're a five-star recruit, you're being recruited by more than two schools. Everywhere over the country is trying to get you. The second thing is what I think people fail to realize is when they leave that campus, when they leave that campus, though, they're subject to those. No, but when they leave the campus, they're going to be subject to those same laws.
Yeah.
The racism, things that, and then on Saturday, they making these schools millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the burger joint, so to me, I'm thinking if I'm a parent and my kid's looking at that school and I'm saying, man, I can't be there 24/7. Road is rough enough. Racism going to find them, but you're more likely going to find them in the state that's subordinate.
Yeah. They're saying it's okay. Yeah.
They blatantly telling you, hey, you don't have any rights outside of your athletic ability.
But where do we go? I mean, I'm with Vincent. At some point, you got to take a stand because it's not going to change. And I think schools wouldn't last 2 years because if they start getting B players, players that don't typically, there's not a 5-star recruit and the talent start to shift. Yeah, they gonna fix that.
Getting them no-star recruits.
Yeah.
And see how much revenue they lose.
Because nobody's going to, because this guy, something stupid, he was talking, he says, we go back to the time when it was all white sports. And I'm like, the reason why they put the brothers in because y'all sucked. It wasn't entertaining.
They know they can't win when they go that route. They cannot win.
Look, TV revenue will be down. I mean, people at the stadium, that'll be cut to like a quarter, just students, all this tailgating and all this stuff. There's a lot of revenue to be lost if the team just suck. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because as we transition, one of the reasons why the baseball board in the Negro Leagues was because the Negro Leagues were selling out at night and they couldn't get anybody come to a game.
Right.
Real life was the Negro League had to go to the night game because they all worked on the day.
So they regular jobs, right?
Yeah, but they were selling out wherever they went. They were selling out, literally selling out. So it wasn't that America got this conscience all of a sudden.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't like they all of a sudden they felt guilty. And go ahead, Vince.
On the real, at this time and age and the struggles that we went through as a people, we shouldn't even be having this conversation because that shouldn't even be on the table.
But, and I said this before, and we all have, well, I don't think you do, but Tommy, Mike, we got grandkids. Our grands, if things continue to go the way they are, when they get grown, they're going to have less rights than we had.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, that's a scary thing about it. And as we transition to the next, like, my first topic is one that let's talk about voting because this has been a heated discussion, man. Do my vote count? Voting don't make any sense, and I hear all these, and I'm talking people look like us, and even some educated people who you think would know better.
No, it absolutely, positively counts.
100%. But a lot of people think my one vote don't count, and they don't look at they one vote multiply that time 500,000 time a million.
Yeah. If everybody had that thought, then depending on how many people didn't have that thought, we end up with an idiot in office.
That's right.
Well, the last two elections in Pennsylvania, the difference in the winner and loser was the number of people who didn't vote. When they went back and they did the math,
and that's crazy.
If those people would have voted, it would have changed the election, especially people of color. It would have changed the election.
Yeah.
So where did that come from, though? I'm just curious because even now, somebody repeated to me again, and I asked them. I said, "Well, if it wasn't important, why do you think they're trying to redistrict? Why do you think they're trying to, change things so our vote don't count? If it didn't matter, they wouldn't do that. They could care less."
In the last election, you figure you have a lot of men that didn't vote just on the right that they were sexist.
Right.
You know what I mean? They didn't think that an educated woman could run this country.
But a moron can.
But a moron, you're right. But a moron can.
Mike's being gentle tonight, but anyway.
And they don't think like Chris is saying. They didn't think that by me not going out and voting for her is a vote for him. They said, "Well, I didn't vote for him, but you didn't vote for her."
Well, every vote you didn't vote, like you said, it is a vote for him.
But what's ironic? Mike said this about 2 shows ago, and he talked about how our wives kind of run the show. So why we think all of a sudden a woman can't do it? And I don't know if you remember, Mike. You talked about it about 2 weeks ago. You mentioned how
I remember.
Yeah. So it's like what? And I'm watching these men, these barbershops. They have cuts all these barbershops out from election, and people who look like us, and they were just. I'm not voting for her, and the reason they gave was just crazy.
Asinine.
Yeah.
We got complacent as a race. We got very complacent. We saw the marches in the 60s, and then we saw a slight change for the better in the 70s and 80s, and we just got to the point where we made it, and they try to when that moron says "Make America Great Again," He's talking about taking it back before the 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
he want to have it where we can't live in neighborhoods, can't go to certain schools, can't get loans from banks. That's what he's talking about. And look at all the black people in high position that soon as he got in, the first thing he did was fire.
Yep,
The very first thing he did.
Absolutely.
And you got people, I know we're not supposed to say names, but like Ricky Ross, who's who's another moron. And I don't care if he hears it or not. I mean, he needs to hear that he's a complete idiot to vote for that guy. A complete idiot. I'm not gonna bite my tongue with that.
No, I'm laughing because you started out, we're not supposed to say names, and you went right right down there, added the metaphors right behind it. Like, yo.
Hey, you know Mike ain't pulling no punches.
That's why I missed him last week, because the colorful slot was going. But, you know, I told Tom, I said, man, we missed Mike last week. That whole Nah, but I think, see, for me, and it's almost like we lost our sense of community. You know, and as much as I hate to say it, it kind of reinforces my theory that 85% of us are just selfish, man, because we looked at that and we didn't think about the generational impact or impact it has on everybody else. We thought about our personal feelings and our emotions. We did.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't sit back and say, okay, well, if this guy get in office, this is what his history says. Forget what he's coming out of his mouth now, but this is what his history says. You know, we just, you know, this is the same guy who, you know, the guys in Central Park, he wanted to, even when he found they were innocent, he still tried to get them.
Took out a whole page to have them executed almost. That's what he wanted.
So how do you think this impacts our legacy? You know, people in our age, man, who we've kind of seen, because I thought about it, you know, we kind of unique because we kind of seen we were young enough to, you know, to see the videos, to see, you know, the way it was right before us. You know, so we got a chance to see, you know, some of the civil rights stuff, you know, Ruby D and Ozzie Davis and the videos and stuff you saw, you know, but it was funny because now we kind of live through, like you said, Mike, we watched it, but now we're watching it turn the other way.
Yeah, it's going backwards.
And we're the only generation that can really say we're watching it turn the other way now.
Yeah.
That's true, because we did see it. And now, like you said, I think we got complacent as not saying us, but as a group of people, we got very complacent in this country. And
as definitely as a country, we got complacent.
Because Obama got elected, that contributed to, because that's the first thing people say. Oh, yeah, we had a black president, so racism is over.
Right. Well, and they say they like to use the term the N-word. They know they can't call us that openly without some repercussions. So we don't say that, and you got a black president, and look where you live. Look at the job you got. Look at this, look at that. And they point out an individual and not us as a group, not us as a whole.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, you know, some of them think we still got our jobs because of our color.
Yeah. And a lot of them think that. I've had a couple of guys say that to me. And
don't realize we got our college degrees.
Right.
You know what I mean?
More education, been on the job longer than these guys come into the job and tell us we got the job because of this and that. And our qualifications, right? Our qualifications meant nothing.
Well,
because
at the end of the
that's how they got their jobs. That's how they get their jobs.
You know what I mean? You know, and all of you guys probably know, you know, just being in our fields, we knew that we had to be twice as good as, you know, our counterparts. You know, just to get noticed. You know, if they operated in the same field that we were, they'd have been plant manager.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. But you know, a lot of our youth, this is the bad part. We gotta find a way to turn this around. Our youth took stupidity and try to make it cool.
Cool. You're right.
You know, they take the negative and try to turn it into a positive that's going to hurt us in the long run. You know, I was watching out. You know, went to the store today, and I saw 4 black guys, 98 degrees. They got hoodies on.
Yeah.
Why? I'm not talking about just the sweatshirt. They got the
they got the shiesty things on. That's like a damn ski mask. It's 100 degrees outside.
And I'm saying to myself, with the heat index, it's 105 degrees today.
You
And
got
you
hoodies
see
on
the
with the hood
reason,
up.
and yet you see that same kid in February with a t-shirt on.
Well, you know what? All through the winter, same thing, hoodies.
Right. We find a way, like I hate, they say the N word, I hate that. But so many of us, oh, that's my so and so, that's my this, oh, that's my, and we take the worst and try to make it cool. And
Well,
I know my dad used to tell us that fool and cool have a lot more in common than rhyming words. And a
Yeah,
lot of our youth now, they cool, but they foolish.
but that's the impact of the media because remember Kanye West said that
Hmm.
he's going to take this negative word and turn it
Hmm.
into a positive, and everybody bought into it. A whole generation bought into it,
Yeah.
not
yeah,
realizing he was just justifying what they say in these rap songs. He just,
Exactly.
it's
Mhm.
about making money. But he
Right.
has a whole generation that still walk around thinking that that's cool. I've had discussion in schools about why you use the word. Do you know one thing that a lot of these kids don't even know the real definition of that word
I know. I know.
or the
yeah.
origin of it? They have no idea.
You know what? In retrospect, when you look at pictures from the 60s and 70s of young black adults, I just said they was dressed to the nine. They took respect in how they look,
Hmm.
you know?
Well, just think back when we were younger. If you caught the plane, the train, we got dressed up to get on the plane.
Yeah,
Now
Yeah.
you get on the plane, half the people got pajamas on. And I
yeah.
mean, I know you flying, you want to get comfortable, you want to try to be as comfortable as you can, but there's no etiquette
No,
no more.
I,
There's no
I
etiquette.
told you, I told you my thought on when you see people out in pajamas, that just means you got out of bed, you ain't wash your ass.
I mean,
Exactly.
Excuse the
Exactly.
language.
No,
it's
that's
not
You
just
true.
on.
know what I
It's not just on the plane.
mean?
It's not just on the plane, man. I've seen parents come to school to parent teacher meetings.
That's
Mhm.
trifling.
You see them in a supermarket. I had this one lady come up, and she was 8 months pregnant. She had on pajama pants, fuzzy slippers, a sports bra, and one of those Jiffy
Yeah.
Pop bonnets on her head.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
she
yeah,
came to
yeah.
school. The silver one looked like remember
Right,
Jiffy Pop.
right, yeah.
and probably smelled like
She
burnt corn
sticking it.
chips.
And you couldn't tell her, man, that she wanted to stop.
Yeah,
Right.
And I'm telling myself, like, man, no wonder your kid act like that. I'm
yeah,
like, see, I'd be reversed because I wouldn't want to be embarrassed. I'd be the perfect kid. My mom would never have to come to school.
yeah.
Mm-mm,
Like, I don't
mm-mm.
want to get embarrassed if she
But
come up here. No, 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 no.
so let me ask you a question. So why is it not? It's almost like it's just deafening silence. As we lose rights. Do you think it's because we up north and it's happening down south? People don't think it's going to impact us.
Well, I think a lot of people think it's not going to impact them.
And I think a lot of people think that it's only happening down south. It
Yeah,
started down south, but it's
Yeah.
just a matter of time for it migrate upwards. And if we're going to see how we can get away with this, and if we do redistrict, we can redistrict this and we're going to take it up north, and we'll have the exact same results.
yeah.
That's what their plan is.
I agree. So why? I mean, it's just interesting
It's
because people are not talking about it. People are not complaining about it. People just kind of moving
Well,
like it's
like
nothing.
today, do y'all know it was a march on the Selma on the bridge today in Alabama, in Selma, Alabama?
Mhm.
Over 10,000 people were there. There was no
yeah,
media coverage or hardly
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
yeah. The way they're going to try to keep it as quiet as possible.
Hmm. Hmm.
But with
But yet,
social media, it's hard to do that. It's
that's
hard to
true.
keep it quiet.
That's true. They get a little recognition, and the social media has a lot to do with the bad as well.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you hear everybody say, "Man, the world has gotten crazy." No, everything is on video. Everything. And
yeah,
everybody, you see a car crash, you hear some shooting, somebody fighting, and instead of calling 911, they got their phone out
yep.
recording.
First thing,
Yeah.
Amazon.
But it's almost like
I just to touch base quickly on the question of what our legacy is going to be, and that might be part of it. Unfortunately, is that there's nowhere to hide. That we grew up in a transition of the social media where it was less hiding of that may be part of our transitioning.
See, I
People
don't know if
force
it's
their
left
job.
hiding. I agree. It's definitely more sensationalized, but we had character and integrity growing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were certain things that we just wouldn't even think about doing. That now is common.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because we knew you better respect home. And home was more than just your address. It was your community.
Mm-hmm.
It was your school. It was your church. It was your
Yeah.
neighbors. It was everybody that was around you. And you didn't want to embed. You didn't want, like we talked about a few seconds ago, all of us were saying, man, we won't go do nothing that my mom and dad had to come up to the schools. We
Yeah.
tried our best. Now the kids will do something, and the first thing the parents say, I don't care what she or he did. And if the kids at 5, 10, 15 years old hear mommy or daddy or whoever the guardian says, I don't care, well, who's the teacher? Who's the principal? Who's
Yeah.
the bus
Or
driver? Right,
they'll blame the teacher.
right. You
But
don't
you,
like
but
my child. Like the kids come to school, the teachers come to school and they look around the classroom, you, and you, I don't like. That don't happen. Your
you,
reputation, your attitude, the lack of discipline, and you build that legacy.
But I think the thing that sticks out to me is all of us on this call, we've had jobs that 40 years ago we wouldn't have been able to get.
Yeah.
50 years ago, whether it's the post office, the federal government, Amtrak, we wouldn't be able to get those jobs.
That's
The
true.
jobs we had. We might have got some jobs in it, but not the ones that we actually
Not
got.
the
Not the
ones
ones
we
that we
had.
got.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
But I
definitely
look
true.
around and it's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like and all the things you said is correct, which seems like it should be more of an alarm. But it just
Yeah.
seems, even our politicians, you don't hear local politicians talking about that. You don't. You don't hear them talking about, how can we turn this thing around? It's like we got to get in office so we can stop the Republicans, we can stop the Democrats. Nobody has a plan. Everybody just got to get in office to stop the other person, and they never
Well,
stop.
they have a plan. They go in the office making
Yeah.
185,000 a year and come
Yeah.
out millionaires. I still don't know how they get that math to work, but I do. They lobby and they get money for everything that they say no and everything they vote yay for.
And then start trading.
Yeah.
And they
As
know
Eddie
stuff is going
Murphy
to happen
said,
before it
vote.
happens. Yeah. Well, see, this goes back to voting again. Why, like, you go over to, and no matter how much you say to people, man, the major election, everybody shows up. But it's
Yeah.
almost like we don't understand the political system that you got to get rid of those guys at the bottom first.
Yeah.
Right. You
Yeah.
got to get the freeholders. You got to get
Yeah.
the local senators and mayors of particularly your communities. Most of
Yeah.
us, I know I vote just about, I don't think I can count on one hand the amount of votes I ever missed, if I missed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people our age can say, I hear people say, man, I was so proud when Barack Obama, that was my first time voting.
Yeah.
48 years old. What do you mean that was your first time voting?
First time voting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on time.
And you got those people that never vote.
Yeah.
I was having a discussion with somebody in the shelter about it, and I'm saying, look where you are now. What do you mean it don't matter? The very funds is keeping this place open are probably going to be cut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in his mind, you could not, because you could tell, because he couldn't justify it. Something just was passed down. My vote don't count. It's a waste of time.
Wow. Yeah. That's so sad, but it's true. I hear the same thing. People just don't want to vote. It ain't gonna matter. If both parties are crooked, both of them. What it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Well,
matter.
I took my grandson to the barbershop last week, and it was about 6 guys in there saying how they votes don't matter. And I said, yes, it does. And so you telling me out of this whole big state, these 6 votes count? I said, no, but how many black barbershops there are in America? And now multiply that number times 6. Since 6 of y'all in here right now with that mentality, multiply that time that. Now take that and go to a bar and get 6 more guys there. Take that and go to the supermarket and get 6 more guys there. And now your 6 votes done turned to 6 million. Well, no. My one vote is still my one vote. I said, yeah, because you're not looking at the whole big picture.
Yeah. All right. You should have asked him, are you happy with the way things are right now?
Well,
And if he said no, he was like, you don't have the right to complain. You ain't vote. Shut up.
Right. Shut up. Yeah.
But this takes me into
Shut up. That's
my
all.
next topic. Do you think it's largely because we don't know our history? We think because we don't understand what people went through to vote to make a difference. That there was a time when we had more
It's
black
it's
senators.
it's hard not to understand and know your history of what happened. I mean, because it's out there.
But
Unless you've been
still,
hiding under the rock for the last 30, 40 years,
It depends
you
on how
know what
you
I
define
mean?
history.
Living in a cave, or whatever the case may be.
but they get their information through social
There
media,
you go.
through YouTube, and and they only listen to a certain demographic. You look at the Republicans; they listen to Fox News, and
Well,
they hear Fox praise Trump
well,
all the time, and that's what they think. You pull them aside.
I'm not going to give them that out because I knew about our history before social media.
I agree. I
So
agree.
why? So
But
so it was out there.
but you know
No,
why you
but
knew about it? It was taught to you. We had to read.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew your mom
yeah,
well. I knew your mom
yeah,
and dad. Y'all know my mom. Y'all knew
absolutely.
my dad. Didn't you have to read something every day?
Yeah,
in the summertime, in the summertime,
Right.
in
Didn't
the
you?
summertime.
What was the worst
yeah,
thing you could tell your mom and dad? I don't have no homework. Well, now
yeah.
do your homework you had yesterday again.
Oh, I'm bored.
Go read.
But I think,
Oh,
I mean,
you better never say you bored.
yeah,
Ooh.
There was a time when I think that was true, but now I think, which is another reason why they take it out of schools, why they taking it down from public places, because I've been in classrooms with older people who don't know our history, who I thought would know some simple things about history. They
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
and I was amazed. I was in a class with a guy, a very intelligent guy. And we were talking about one of the kids just stumbled upon Amistad, so we were talking about Amistad, and
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Wow, how did you learn how to sail a boat?" I said, "Yo, Africans were sailors, man. They
Mm-hmm.
knew how to sail. They knew how to fish. They knew how to, use the sky, the charts and stuff like that." And dude was
yeah.
just started laughing. He's like,
He
"Man."
didn't know how they navigate. He didn't.
So
He
I
couldn't
asked him,
figure
let me
that
ask
out.
you a question. So what do you think? They just broke out from under the boat and miraculously learned how to sail the boat? Yeah,
Let's sail.
they
Yeah,
just, they just picked up skills from underneath the bottom of the boat. So,
yeah.
and I'm saying this is an educated guy. So there's a lot of people who don't know our history, who
And
only
that's
know
crazy.
slavery. They know
That's
slavery.
crazy.
They skip right over it. They don't know about the White House was, they gypped somebody, so it took Benjamin Banneker memorizing the plan to build the White House.
Right.
They know
Mm-hmm.
about, the cotton gin, the gas mask. They don't know all that stuff.
Yeah,
Even now, security system, they just think it just miraculously, and I'm talking about people look like us. They think it just miraculously appeared.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know
And
your history, you don't know where you come from, how do you
you
value
don't
yourself?
know. You don't know where you're going.
Yeah, but how do you value
yeah,
yourself? If you just see yourself as somebody else's property, that's your history. And I think that's what we're dealing with now. You got a bunch of people who know the slavery part of history, but they don't know the freedom part.
right.
And they don't know, like you said, the freedom part. They don't know that the Civil War started because slavery ended. They don't know that we have we used to have lynching parties, and we were the
Yeah.
guest of honor. They don't
Yeah,
see that they might not lynch us, but if I can keep you from getting a job, if I can keep you from getting a loan to buy a home, I still my agenda worked.
yeah,
And a lot of us don't see that. I hear kids and they don't think that it's important to do their homework, or they don't think it's important
Right.
to read, to participate in school. All of us,
well, we
we
got
we, we participated from day one. We didn't just say, okay, now I'm in the eighth grade, let me start participating. We were in the science club, the math clubs, the glee club, the 4-H club. We were Boy Scouts. We did something besides just go to school.
look, we
These
got
kids
right
now,
now. You got 30% of them think they're gonna be rappers.
yeah,
And you
another one
got
gonna
another 50% think they're gonna be professional athletes.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that lead at 20% that's in them books, trying to keep hope alive and keep it doing what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back to it's generational because their parents allow that. Their parents kind of foster that type of environment.
Well, when we got to children raising children, this is what we got.
Mm-hmm.
See, I agree and I
That's
disagree because you know what, Vince? There were young moms when we were coming along too.
I'm gonna say they were
but
young mom. They were young moms since
but
time. Since
Yeah,
time.
but the thing is, we were back then. We were a community.
yeah, I
Right.
agree.
You
And
know what I mean?
that village was active.
Yeah.
If I was down Mike's house and your mom popped me upside my head, do you think my
Yeah.
mom was coming down there to argue at your mom?
No,
She gonna
you
say
only
he
thing
done
you
did,
hope
he
was
done
that
did.
you would hope
Yeah,
my mom wouldn't tell
I'm
your
gonna
mom
get
that she
two
had to.
pops.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna get two pops upside my head.
One on each side.
Exactly.
Now that parent want to fight.
hmm
You know what I
And
mean?
we'll tell my mom or your mom, I don't care what Mike did or I don't care what Vincent did. And we as kids, when we hear that, oh, mommy and daddy don't care. Who are
Yeah,
Yeah.
you to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
A lot
I
of people
bet.
don't realize that the kids, they do what we do more than what we say.
Oh
And
yeah.
they sponges. They observe everything we do, good and bad.
well, I mean, a lot of that goes back to respect.
hmm
They're not taught respect.
Yep, that's a fact. And probably the majority of it go back to respect. You're right.
Yeah,
But I think so. I mean, it's interesting because I look at it and I talk to people, and I do agree. I think this professor about 4 months ago, and she calls quite a stir because I want to get your thoughts on this. She said, the class of 1950, is more intelligent than the class of 2026. And people were going crazy. And she said, let me explain to you, because the class of 1950, parents made sure their kids could read and write. Parents
yeah,
made sure their kids had a work ethic. Parents made sure their kids, knew right from wrong.
yeah.
And in 2026, we just don't see that. So that's another area on the social side of things that we just kind of, it's not there anymore.
Well, I mean, just the tools that they have available.
Right. I still say I don't know how every college still don't have a 4.0 GPA because they don't have to go to the
Yeah,
libraries like we had to do. They didn't have
yeah.
to,
They don't,
research.
yeah,
We went to our school library, but we had to go off campus to other libraries just to
yeah,
get a paper to get turned in. And we had to do that research. We had to take the footnotes and put them down. And that was not one class, that's 7, 8 classes a semester we had to do that. And now
hmm
they can go, you can get AI to write the paper for you and go back and change a word or two and put it in your own
yeah,
words. We
yep.
couldn't do that.
All you got to do is put the information in, and boop,
hmm
there you go. I mean, but the thing is, right now you got so many people losing their jobs because of AI.
Yeah, yeah.
AI is taking jobs. Period.
Well,
Yeah.
automation, before AI, automation, just think about when we were kids. If we drove from our house, our parents' house to DC, you paid toll like 6 times. And there
Hmm
were somebody in each booth you went through. You go to the
Yeah,
supermarket, they were 15 out of the lines, 10 of them was
yeah,
open with a cashier on it. Now you go to the
yeah,
supermarket, it's 15 lines, but 12 of them is all automated. You
yeah,
Yeah.
self checkout. You go
yeah.
to Sam's or Costco, you don't even have to go to the register. You just put your stuff in the cart and just ring it up as
Just
you
scan
go.
it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So automation, as good as it is, it's always been one to. I know, like when I first started with Amtrak, we controlled the traffic of trains. We were in them big. Y'all ride by. Look at that old building like it's back in slavery days. Well, we were up in there throwing switches and signals. Now everything's computerized, and
yeah.
what was 6 jobs is one.
Yeah.
And
hmm
it's faster, it's quicker, it's easier.
Yeah,
But the thing about it, history repeats itself because when factories went automated, the same thing happened. I mean, I do agree with what Vincent's saying, but it goes back to me. Even now, we see it coming, and we still don't push for the schools to prepare our kids.
Right.
yeah.
You know, these AI should be being taught in schools.
It should be.
They should be
It should
trained.
be.
They shouldn't have Chromebooks that this actually can really do nothing. It's like a tablet.
It should be.
That they're taking home, and most kids can't do anything other than that, just the bare minimum, and they're not teaching them to be prepared. So I mean, I agree with everything you said, but at what point do we demand as parents, like, y'all got to start teaching these kids so they can compete?
Right.
Well, that thing with no kid left behind. So a lot of parents,
Yeah.
as long as he get promoted, that's good enough for me. And I know for a fact, all four of us, 4 times a year, we had to bring our report cards home
Oh
and,
yeah.
and show them to our parents. Now you talk to the
Mm.
average parent, how your kid doing in school? I don't know. and they say it so nonchalant. Like,
But our parents knew when that report card was due. They knew when that report card was supposed to come in the house. You know,
and it better come in there that
if
day.
it didn't, it was a problem.
But you know what's crazy about it? Now, because of the way school is set up, you know, they got all this online stuff. You really don't have to go back to see what your kid is doing. You can go.
But that online stuff allows you to see every test, every quiz, everything. But you got to want to do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But, to me, but that's no excuse when somebody says, I don't know. Go ahead, Tommy.
I was just to cut you off. My grandson in the 6th and 8th grade all have an AI class. So it is being taught some classes. It's just not being taught everywhere. But my grandson.
No, but that's the problem.
Right.
Look at your neighborhood. Look at your neighborhood.
Right.
And that's where it's being taught is a huge difference. So we can say it's being taught, but it's being taught. It's not being taught universally. It's taught in certain neighborhoods. But what about the person who can't? What about the person who can't move to that? I say this all the time. We were all fortunate to be able to move out of our neighborhood. We did. We had a choice. We all had a choice. How many people didn't have a choice?
Yeah.
You know, who had to stay there. You know, and so that's always been the issue. So if you move in a nice neighborhood, you can afford it. You get certain things. You know, but we're going to make sure these people stay poor because you think they would run to give it to people in the hood. You think they would run to teach them to make sure they don't get on social services, to make sure they can, you know, but they don't because as long as you have poor people,
as long as they can keep their foot on their throat, you know.
It's the same thing writing in cursive. You know, some schools and some communities are still doing it, but in the hood, they weren't doing it. I got kids in 11th grade now trying to figure out how to write in cursive because these parents are starting to realize now, you can't sign a lease, you can't get a passport, you can't, most jobs now are saying you got to sign, you can't do a DocuSign.
You can't get a driver's license, you got to sign the back end, right?
Yep.
So I mean, they done took the basic away from you, your signature. You know what I mean?
Think about the people who died.
You can't.
Who because they refused to get out online because they wanted to vote, because they wanted to get a driver's license. You know, there's people literally died. To Mike's point, got lynched, got hung from trees, got beat, got pummeled. So I think how do we try to convey that to people? Because some black people, I think, honestly, don't understand all we've been through as a race. Like, I don't think they really truly understand.
Well, Chris, they go back to the 85%.
You validate me when you say that, Tway.
I got to. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Tommy's still a naysayer. We got to work on him, man.
I'm the naysayer. I'm still saying this. I don't want to think it's that bad, even though I'm basically confirming it is.
I tell you what, Mike.
I mean,
we're gonna do an experiment, Mike. You get 10 people outside this circle, outside this group. I'm not talking about people you grew up with. Some people, and you just come up with a question that account and see what happens. I'm telling you, man, I would be shocked if at least 7 out of 10 didn't support my theory. I give you a perfect example. I do case studies with the kids. So I said, okay, let me ask you a question. You know, you get off the bus behind this elderly lady, you know, and she drops a brown bag. You hear her talking about she going to pay her rent and everything. She drops a brown bag. You pick up the bag. It's full of money. What would you do? Man, yeah, very few say they go return it. Even though they tell them she paid the rent. She's finders keepers. She lost it.
You got a point. You got a point, because I remember one time I was at 30th Street, and I was walking to the food court across the street from the station, and I see this lady. She got a baby in her arm, a stroller, and another baby holding her hand, and a suitcase. So I'm trying to get to the door to hold the door for her, but with a teenage guy, maybe early 20s, and he opened the door. He went around her, opened the door where he had to squeeze through. So I got there, held the door for her. I said, "Ma'am, you need help?" "No, I'm good, thank you." So I said, "Yo, young man." I stopped him. I said, "You didn't see that lady back there?" And his quote, this is what he said: "I don't know her." not I didn't know her. I'm sorry. I don't basic respect and concern for your fellow man.
I told that
85% selfish.
But even in marriage, we have Panera Bread, right? So I see this couple outside, you know, 3 little kids, and a mom and a husband, you know. So, you know, I go in, you know, I open the open door, Deb goes in, she comes, I let her in. She's sitting there trying to figure out how to carry all this food out. He's sitting out there drinking coffee, smoking a cigarette. And she like, she like a waitress. She got stuff. So I felt bad, so I opened the door for her. He never moved. He looked up, put his head back there. He never said, well, why is this dude open the door for? He just, and I'm watching like, he's smoking a cigarette, drinking his coffee, man. And she's struggling, trying not to drop stuff. And I'm like, this is crazy, man.
But you know what?
My grandson catch the bus right on the corner every day to go to school. I could look out the window and see him on the bus stop. And I got him. He's the only guy that's getting on the bus. It's all girls getting on in him. Every day he make sure they get on first. I tell him, I say, you let them ladies first, let them go. And the bus driver I don't go out to the bus stop with him no more. He don't want. He's 12 years old. But the bus driver, when she see me, she goes, "Your grandson has no respect."
But I tell you what, you look at, we have other cultures in the United States. Like my neighbors across the street are Asians. It snowed. You had all these big snows we had this summer. Guess who was out there shoveling snow?
His wife.
Her, not him. He in the house chilling.
Wow.
She out there shoveling snow.
Let me tell you.
And I mean, that's the difference
I don't
with
think
other
Carol ever
cultures.
pushed the shovelers. Not since I met her.
I know my wife has it.
If I see that, if I see like all these females driving their husbands around, I ask my wife, what happened? Did we miss a rule?
Yeah.
Well, I take that back. My wife.
I'm not getting driven around. Why I got to?
My wife hates she thinks I drive too fast, and she complains and she get anxiety about my driving. So I just let her drive.
So maybe I should do that. Maybe I need to do that.
I drive, but if my wife.
You drive too close to people. Oh, why are you stopping like that? You stopping up on them. Oh,
you know how to prevent that.
Around people.
I'm gonna teach y'all how to prevent that. Carol used to always complain. You drive too fast, and you see over there pushing on the brakes. So one day I lift my knee to my chest. I said, "Stop the car." I said, "Oh, your brakes don't work over there, huh?" And then now she used to go to sleep. We get in the car. We driving down to Florida. I look up, all the kids in the back sleep. She sleep. So we down in Virginia. It's pitch black. I made sure there wasn't nothing around me. On 95, I turned the lights off. I rolled her window. Her head was up against the window. So I rolled her window down, and I go, I said, that's what would happen if I fell asleep. I'm crazy. So see,
you young people getting married, this is not for you to try at home. If you watching this show, this is not considered marital advice.
Yeah.
Man, but guess what? She don't do no more. She don't try to start the car on her side, and she don't go to sleep.
So moving right along on that note. So what about the whole thing? I don't hear people complaining about the 14th Amendment, which basically gives, it really never applied to us. It took for black people anyway. It took a long time to get there, but just guaranteeing the right to be a citizen. And they're talking about taking off the, who they target with the whole thing anyway. But I don't hear anybody talking about that. I'm trying to figure out why nobody's making a big deal about that. And to your point, Mike, he set this whole thing up on the pro-life thing. He used because he knew he wanted people to rally around it. But
that was his sample size.
But he knew if he gets the Supreme Court to overturn one thing, it will set precedent.
Yep.
He knew if he can do one thing.
And look what he did yesterday. He stole $1.744 billion, excuse me. And he's going to pay the guys that rallied on the Capitol on January 6th.
January 6th.
They'd have paid us with bullets.
Right. Oh, they still
if we did the same thing.
If that was black people, they would still be identifying body parts.
Yeah, for real. We'd have got riddled.
So what's next? So we talked. Kevin had some great points last week. He talked about having our own schools. He talked about supporting our own businesses. I'm a firm believer that if African Americans didn't go to Chick-fil-A for a month, it would shake the economy. If we didn't buy Nikes for a month, it would shake the economy. If we didn't go to Target, if we didn't go, just a month. Yeah. I'm saying how we could shift things.
Well, that's what we used to do. Go back to 1964 when they boycotted Woolworth down in North Carolina, and they went around the nation. And we boycotted. We would not go to the store. We would not buy anything. we walked when they didn't let us ride the bus. They said Rosa Parks, okay, you throw her off the bus, you mad at her, we won't ride the buses at all. And all of a sudden, wait a minute, we're going to go out of business if we don't let them go. We don't do that no more. We don't.
So let me ask you a question. Why do you think, as a people, we're so forgiving?
Well, us as a black people are forgiven by nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know
I
what
think we have a good heart. And
Right.
because we went through so much in this country, so much,
Yeah.
that we say it can't be that bad, and we all were brought up under the golden rule, do unto others as you have them do unto you. We
Right.
were raised like that, and our parents was raised like that. I don't know if this next generation gonna be that forgiving.
No.
Now, the
Well,
bad
no.
part
Well, I
about it,
mean, making a big stink out of stuff, well, that's coming up. It came with consequences.
mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, now,
Yeah.
I deal with parents and fathers, and they don't. I deal with grown people who their father's been dead 40 years, and they still angry. What you angry about? For something 40 years ago. I deal with people who you couldn't even tell them, why they mad at a family relative. They mad because their mama told them, or Aunt Pearl told them they're not supposed to speak to them. So when it comes to internally, we're not that forgiving. When it comes to us forgiving each other, but when it comes to things against us, we just seem to be. And I'm not saying we got to be militant, but we just seem to just let it slide, and it just keeps happening. It just piled up, and we march protest for a week. Yeah, and then,
Brainwashing. That's the brainwashing. We quick to say Black Lives Matter. I agree with that. Now I always say we left off one 3-letter word too. But when we say Black Lives Matter, and you look at the news and you see a bunch of us killing a bunch of us, who does it matter to? If it don't matter to us.
But let me say this, and I agree with you. But do you know they don't advertise it? I say this all the time. You remember growing up, there wasn't a week you could not pick up the paper when some mobster in South Philly wasn't knocking somebody off.
That's true. That's true.
It was all the time, and it was funny because they could blow up a house and not touch a house on either side.
Right.
They put it down to a side, but it was never an issue. Nobody talked about white on white. They just never talked about it. It was just
and they still don't. They still don't.
It was just
they everything we do negative is magnified. Everything.
But we still support those things though. That's the part. I never forget the Daily News. And I stopped buying the Daily News because of this, because the Daily News
the Daily News is still out.
But if a Caucasian athlete got in trouble, when we were growing up, if a Caucasian athlete got in trouble, they would find the best picture to put up. If it was an African American, they found the worst picture to put up there.
It always still do.
So we growing up,
the media.
I stopped buying it. We growing up, that's why I refused to read it, because they would do that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, the local media does it all the time.
Yeah,
they go to a neighborhood, something happened. I guess they out there scanning the neighborhood. Let me find the person with, like you said, with a Jiffy Cap hat on, with no teeth, and they dialect. You don't understand a word.
With pajamas on.
Right. And that's who they interview. So we get that stereotype because of that.
But we used to be such a proud people. Like, Vincent talked about it. I look at pictures now when my mom, we were growing up, we had the suits on. When we came around, we were dressed.
I mean, if they didn't have suits on, they had dress slacks on, shoes, and a nice shirt.
Right. Do y'all remember when we were at Stokely? And Vince, you 2 years younger, but Tommy and Chris, I know y'all know. When we were safeties, we couldn't wear sneakers on our posts. We had to have shoes.
Yeah. And I was like, how am I supposed to run in shoes, man? No, I'm only kidding.
especially if you're on them blame school passes. You might need to dash.
But
and remember our safety belt. We had to keep that pristine. It was white. We bleached it. Made sure.
And shirts tucked in.
And your shirts tucked in, right?
But and that's the thing that as we start to wrap up, it's funny because I know we can't be the only ones who remember that. I know that we can't be this small group of people who remember this thing called a standard.
You know why? We might be, I'm not saying we're the only ones. I know we're not. But you know why we're unique? Because we took pride long before we went into that schoolyard.
Yeah.
But we took pride in the schoolyard. We took pride in the classrooms. You hit the nail on the head. 50 years ago, none of us would have had the job that we had.
No.
None of us would have. But we took pride, and then not only we took pride, we said, I'm not going to let you say what I can't do.
Yeah.
You know, we saw jobs come up and we applied for jobs, and then we got promoted, and our jobs got to the point where, damn, I got to offer him that position.
Yeah.
Because our work ethic,
You
our
make
pride,
it hard for them to say,
no,
no, we can't.
Exactly.
See, but I believe, me and my statistics, I believe 75% of these people in the world have an identity crisis. I think they don't know who they are. You know, we grew up understanding who we were. We all took risks. None of us took this job that we went to college for. We had the great academic thing about, we all kind of went somewhere else and made our way. You know, I remember one time we left the bank to go for the post office, and everybody, man, that's a good job. They all because he worked for the bank. Oh, that's a good job, man. You know, and look what he turned it into. You know, you don't hear that anymore. It's almost like now, you know, people just they don't build stuff for themselves. They don't build stuff together. I've been telling, you know, I'm this stat guy, but drive people crazy. You know, I talk to a lot of married couples, young couples. You know, they don't talk about building stuff together anymore. You know, they expect one of them to have it when they get into this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's no more, you know, and we all started the same way. We didn't marry rich. We weren't rich.
Right.
You know?
But I don't, in our community, we saw it growing up with families built stuff together.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's almost like we've, and I think you and Vince and Mike talked about the whole village thing. It's non-existent now.
It is. It is.
You know,
It is because look at where all of us live at.
Yeah.
We don't know our neighbors. We know, okay, I know who live across the street, down the street. But when we grew up, we could name everybody, every household, household.
Around
now,
the corner,
right,
down
right.
the street,
Now
2 blocks
I know,
over,
okay,
down a little street.
You be in the supermarket and you look at the person. I think she lived across the street from me.
Yeah.
I mean, we might not have been able to call every single neighbor by name,
Right, but
but
you knew
we knew him enough to speak and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Right, and knew that he was from our way. He was in our neighborhood. He was a colleague, a friend, associate, somebody.
Yeah.
But I go a step further. You couldn't walk anywhere when we were growing up in our neighborhood, and some people walk past you and not speak.
That's true. And now people, you speak till they look at you like, do you know me?
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
So I think,
You know what?
So
a couple of things, like, you know, when you think about us growing up in our era, we had accountability.
Good word.
They don't have accountability now.
No.
They don't. They don't.
And that's sad, but that's the truth. That's the truth. No accountability.
Yeah.
Because I tell people that how long we've known each other, people think they think that is weird. You know?
Yeah, because we've known each other 6 years.
Wow.
Think about it.
Yeah, I do think, but that's what makes it remarkable that and it wasn't always ice cream either. We had some battles, we had some wars, man. But I think that's nothing that's different now. You know, people don't know how to separate the two. You know, it's now either you with me or you against me. It's a war. You can never disagree with me because once you disagree with me, that's it.
Disagree, it becomes.
I mean, lacking in loyalty, lacking in accountability. It's so many words to throw out there that separates us growing up from the way it is now. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you hit it with accountability because you can't say anything to anybody now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say, like, even when you're talking about pro sports, I look at pro sports and I wonder why people don't say things to other athletes. You know, this dude is dogging this dude, and everybody just sit there and look at him. Man, we would have never allowed that to happen.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no.
We would have never.
Tommy and I'll be talking about like AJ Brown. Who in the locker room, somebody should have pulled him aside and said, yo, what's your problem, man?
Yeah.
I mean, before it got to this point where he's getting traded. But accountability, like Vince said, nobody holds nobody accountable.
But see, back in the day, that whole front four on defense where they say, yo, can we talk to you for a minute?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You messing up our checks. You messing up our checks. Yo,
Right.
I need that Super Bowl money. I'm getting no big contracts. Like,
Right.
Let's talk
I mean, he's more worried about his individual accolades.
Right. He
versus
wants
the
his
team
gold jacket
accolades.
and don't realize that if he got 3-4 Super Bowls and still 1,000 yards every year, he our first ballot Hall of
But
Fame.
they're not going to pay you any differently if you need to block on this play.
But
You know what I mean?
talked about that. All you had to do is look at T.O. What T.O. barely made it in because his attitude, one because his talent.
Yeah.
It was just he had a lousy attitude, man. And so all he got to do, and that's not that long ago that AJ can't be friends. It's not just AJ, it's almost like an athletic thing. If you say boo to these guys now,
Yeah.
you know, you 0 for 20. How dare somebody say you're not hitting? What do you call it?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, and I take it back to us, even our community, when we grew up, heck, I said we criticize each other. You know, if you're not doing something, man, and we know you can do it. It wasn't all that, you know, get them tomorrow. No, dude, carry your weight. Let's go.
Yeah.
It was, yo, what you doing, man? Come on. And that's all he had to say. What you
I
doing?
know. Look, I know you can take that. I know you can make that play.
I wish when I was playing for Lenny, I would have ran to the table after the game. We lost. See how many hits I had. Man, next hit I got wouldn't have been the base hit.
We lost, but I went 4 for 4.
I was no, the second 4 wasn't coming out. But it's like that's where we are now, and it's kind of funny. Like even not just sports, even society wise, it just seems like.
But times have changed because I'm going back. I remember I was running indoor with the Striders, and we were at Lehigh, University of Lehigh. They got a nice, Vince, you ran up there. They got that nice rubberized indoor track, and I was running the 200. I come around and I blew my heat out, so I back paddled across the line, across the finish line. I broke the tape with my back, and when I turned around, Ron slapped the crap out of me. He met me at the finish line.
Congratulations.
And hitting him back never entered my mind. Now it's an all-out fight between that coach and that player.
Yeah.
Well, no, because the coach we grew up with, it wouldn't have been a fight.
The different times.
Because now they grab. Back then they weren't grabbing it.
Okay.
But I think, and I do, but it's kind of odd though because it kind of the world mirrors sports and sports mirrors the world because that's kind of crept in our society. Like Vince said, you can't tell somebody, step it up now. You can't tell somebody, you dogging it. You can't tell somebody, I need more. Even in marriages, people just walk away.
And we didn't have to say that but once or twice. Because if I was running, okay, you might not run with me or as fast as me, but you're giving your all. Everybody did that. When Vince was running, Vince got a lead on somebody, you knew you wasn't going to catch it. Everybody knew that. But you still tried.
Yeah.
And you felt good that you put that effort in to try.
But now, people wouldn't even run against Vince because that's Tommy and I talk about it all the time. Oh, because that's Vincent Scott. We don't stand a chance. It's just different now. You hear people say it, well, that's so and so. I'm like, wait a minute.
I used to get mad at my team. Tommy, no, I used to get mad. Oh, we playing the North Philly Giants. No, they playing us.
Yep.
I don't care who they beat last week.
Look, when I looked forward to running against Herschel Walker. I looked forward to running against Carl Lewis. I looked forward to running against Carlton Young. I didn't care.
Because for us, my attitude was always this.
Ronaldo Nehemiah, you look forward like, I'm gonna beat his ass for this. Use the French. That's what you had.
Well, we also had the attitude was, you got to prove you're the best every day. We were never going to lay down and say, and my thing was, you supposed to beat me because you all this and all that. You supposed to. I'm not going to let you. So you got more lose than I do. But I think it's different now because when I was coaching, the same thing. Oh, we playing so and so. We play. He put his stuff on just like you do.
Yeah, you laying down before the game.
Yeah, we can't win. Like who says that before a game? We can't, but it's just a common thing now. And I think
because when I played center field, I never saw if we didn't have a fence. I don't care who you weren't gonna hit the ball over my head. I just felt like that way. I'm not saying I caught every time, but I felt like there's no way you hitting that ball over my head.
Tommy know that's how I feel.
I'm sorry.
You know that's how I felt. Look, I'll walk up right there, you hit over my head. Because most people when they see that, they pop it up.
Well, because now they not instead of hit the ball on the line, they find it and they pop it up. Right. And the second baseman catch it.
What did you say, Tommy? That was my thing.
No, I disagreeing with both of y'all. Yeah, I'm agreeing.
I think also though, and I know we got to sign off. We played together. Like I knew when I was in the outfield, whoever was in right, whoever was in left, I used to say this all the time. You know what? I got from here to here, you cover the line. You know, and you back me up. Everything else, you just back me up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before we went out there, man, and now guys, they don't even talk to each other. No. I think you see, but you see the same thing in life, man. You don't see those friends, saying affirmations to the other friends. You don't see those friends encouraging their friends. And Tommy told the story a couple of weeks ago. He had a game when they cheered against their teammates.
Yeah.
Well, somebody would have got. Now I know I'm not condoning violence, but somebody would have got punched in the mouth. That would have happened to us when we were playing.
Oh, most definitely. Definitely.
Several times.
Most definitely. You out there giving your all, and they rooting against you, your teammates. Ooh,
I can say it now. What did he hit you for? I said this. Boom, he hit you. What? But I think I don't know. So do you think
I'll probably be in jail?
So the final question is: do you think we are regressing or progressing?
Yeah, we definitely regressing.
Unfortunately, I hate to admit, but that's the truth. Yeah,
I was watching this story where this one guy suggested that once Trump's term is done, that we erase everything that he'd done, like he never existed.
I hope that's the truth. I hope.
But the problem with that is going to take 5-6 years to fix what he did, man.
Oh, it's going to take at least 2 terms.
Yep.
At least.
Yep. Yes, it is.
And that's if everybody cooperates.
Right.
Yep. Well, hopefully they learned their lesson and they will cooperate this time.
Well, you hear one out of a few people saying I voted for him all 3 times, and I always say to myself, well, how long have you been a moron? Because to vote for him once, something wrong with you.
I was watching that.
You should be on, as we say, the yellow bus 3 times. You should be institutionalized.
I was watching this, and this dude could barely speak English. He was saying phone. I'm voting for final phone. I'm voting for final phone.
Final phone.
And there you do. And I'm thinking, you know the guy you talking about.
You know how many people that voted for him he deported?
Yeah.
Right.
One guy had 2 kids. One guy had
you asked for it, you got it.
But anyway, guys, this is great. This is one of our better shows, man. Definitely, man. It was a great episode, man. Yeah, this was fun. It was a lot of fun, man. And Mike, you made it through, man. I was waiting for that alarming beep assault, but it never came.
It can.
I know it can. The week off when they cruise must have did you well, man.
I'm good.
Definitely love and appreciate it to you, man.
All right, love y'all.
Love you guys.
All right, guys.
Yes, Mike, you can hear the song.
Let me take you back to the place where we grew. It was more than just a track in the schoolyard vibes where legends were made. Boys turned to men in the games that we played. Under the sun, life's lessons came raw. Every challenge faced made us stronger for sure. Running through the dirt with our dreams in the race. Competing for respect, every heart was in place. Those playground rules, they became our creed. From basketball courts to the fields of speed. We hustled and flowed with every passing day. Learning how to stand up when life's in the way. In the schoolyard, that's where it began.